Record. Welcome back to another episode of the IHMS show, Power Rankings. Well, by the end of the season, we'll figure out what exactly this is. It's not a podcast, so there's that. But I don't know if you noticed, Jake. I'm Pablo. That's Jake. I don't know if you noticed that I changed the name of the channel to IHMS Productions. I think it seems like we're going to branch out past our own power rankings. And since we've already got some other videos, I think it's more than just IHMS. I think we're productions now.
Whole production company. Look at
Whole
us.
production company. Keep that in mind for tax breaks. We'll be there someday. But new poster on the wall. Barry Sanders went to the Lions-Dolphins game. Good time. Great game. Great seats. Jalen Waddle, my only fantasy salvation at the moment. But, we move on. Let's talk trade deadline real quick. Jake, what did your Packers do?
They did nothing. Thanks for reminding me.
So they were just like your fantasy team this week. All right, perfect. Moving on.
Pretty much.
We do like to go into this week's a little bit of a special episode. We are doing tiers. We are doing something different. I know Mr. Tommy Blythe has been waiting to appear on our show, and it's not how you would think, but it'll be exciting. So to start it off, we have a very frequent visitor to our show. Hadn't been on in a couple episodes, but here he is once again, Mr. James Dumais, with yet another depressing lowest score video.
My team is horrendous, but I ain't gonna be dead last. We'll trade Higby for a second round. Any takers?
It's tough to see, but the man really believes he's not going to be in dead last this year, or at least lose the toilet bowl, win the toilet bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Hey, he's only number 13 right now, so Tommy does have the worst.
Tommy is gutted, but I mean, Dumais has the lowest points for max PF, everything you can imagine. But he's got Geno Smith, who's probably going to be more than a 1-year guy. He's got Greg Dulcich. He's got Treylon Burks on his bench. He's got 2 first-round picks. He's got some guys, and like he said, he's looking to trade Tyler Higbee. So someone help the man out.
Please, someone give him a pity second.
Yeah, and then for the man who finessed him with that Treylon Burks deal, our highest scoring team, that deal should have been vetoed though. I still don't understand why it wasn't. And if you remember, I had those deals with him. I waited for it to get passed, and then that man just went ahead and passed on his own deal within minutes. So Andres, highest scoring team once again, second team to have done it twice. Here's what he has to say.
I'd like to credit my current record to one man and one man only. And his name is James Prochet. From the moment I took him from the depths of my taxi to my bench, I'm 7-1 and one of the best teams in the league. The moment I win the championship this year, I'm buying myself a Prochet jersey autographed by him and flexing it wherever we go.
So how much do you think a signed James Prochet jersey goes for right now?
Probably like $10, 30 cents.
Well, 10.30. I mean, hey, that's not a bad price. But he said he'd wear it everywhere. So, I mean, he's going to ruin it quickly. So he can just go out and buy another one. And then this week, we aren't doing any awards this week. I'm sorry, folks. It wasn't in the cards. If I did have to pick a most shocking, though, my pick this week for most shocking was our heavyweights finally showed up. We'll get more into that later. But this week we have a very nice segment. Last week I was hammered. Saw what was going on in the chat. A couple bets were going down. I said, you know what? I'm going to get in on this. Not thinking about it. It hit. So this week we have Mr. Tommy Blythe on his new segment, a frequent segment that we'll have now, Bets with Blythe, the IHMS locks of the week. Take it away, Tommy.
What's up, fuckers? It's Ricky fucking Bobby. I'll be hosting the first ever I Hate My Son gambling locks of the week. First up, we have Devontae Smith over 12.6 points. It's an absolute lock. AJ Brown is going to be getting mad attention, and the former Heisman winner is going to be feasting on this Thursday afternoon. Next up, I have 2 locks that you can place on any betting website in your state. We have Austin Eckler, first touchdown scorer in the Chargers-Falcons game. And my last one will be TJ Hawkinson, first TD scorer for his new team, the Minnesota Vikings. The majority of you missed last week's bets. But guess what, motherfuckers? If you ain't first, you're last.
How much are you buying into his locks?
All my money, I'm putting the house on it. I trust in Tommy.
Hey. His take on Devontae Smith, I do like that take. I don't disagree with him. If Devontae Smith gets Derek Stingley on him, I mean, in college, that man cooks Stingley. So I could definitely see over 12.8 points, fantasy points for Devontae Smith. But Jake, I'll let you explain the tier system once again, since you so graciously came up with it.
Hey, it was a team effort, but now it's been a few more weeks. We're going back to tiers where we're at about 2/3 in the regular season, halfway through the full season. We have 5 tiers. Bottom is toilet bowl contenders. Second to bottom is the fringe playoff teams. And then second top, we have the playoff hopefuls. And then at the top, we have the contenders. So me and Pablo, we sorted them out through each section. Neither of us have seen each other's lists, so we'll break them down, see why and where we put everyone.
And we'll dive right into it. Toilet bowl, both were featured in this episode already. My picks, at least, were Dumais and Mr. Tommy Blythe. Tommy's team is so weird. It's because he doesn't have the running backs to really support it. And getting rid of all his picks doesn't really constitute a rebuild for this season. Next year, he's got 5 first-round picks, so he could be in a rebuild that way. But I think his team is good. I think it'll be better next year, but got a long way to go this year. We'll see what happens. Kyler Murray has not been good. He has no consistency, so it's kind of tough. Who do you have in this section?
Yeah, I also have Dumais and Tommy. I did add one more name. He's the lowest for points for and max points for. I have Joss, who's 3-5 now, but he'll probably miss the playoffs. And with the teams looking, I still think he's still going to be in contention for the bottom, even with the Kenneth Walker breakout.
I have him a bit higher. Funny enough, I don't know if it's because he was on a trip or something. He didn't set his lineup this week. Dalvin was on his bench, so it wouldn't have helped him, but it would have been better. Mm-hmm. But that is interesting. I have him a lot higher than you. Moving on, rebuilder. I have one team. That is myself. I think I am the only true rebuilder in this league right now. Of my 6, my oldest receiver right now. Now it's Philip Dorsett. Picked him up because of the Brandon Cooks news. Nico Collins is going to be out sometime. My oldest player is Tom Brady. Go figure. I have the oldest player in the league. But 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a third, and 3/4. I don't have the most draft capital, but between first-year players and rookies for next year, I do have the biggest building blocks, I'd say, of anyone in the league.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I have you in the rebuilders. You've acquired a lot of draft picks and young talent recently. You got a few of the good young receivers from this most recent draft class. So I'd say you're definitely in a good spot, building area. Definitely not, your team's not bad. Be at a huge risk of having to do stand-up comedy, but you're definitely in a rebuild.
And Justin Fields has looked great these past couple weeks. If he can keep that up,
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about quarterbacks. So that's an
Yeah,
added
exactly.
bonus.
You're looking a lot better.
And
Saves the crap.
since Jordan Love's going to take over in Green Bay next offseason, I got 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, at this rate, it might be sooner.
I would not be
But
upset.
alongside the rebuilders, I had 2 teams. I had you, and I also added Team Big Ricky. I had him in the rebuilding section. Not the only reason I kept him out of French playoff is just because he's 2-6. He's not got the greatest remaining schedule, and the Najee Harris turning into like a very bad running back has really hurt this team from being able to maybe sneak into the playoffs this year and maybe make a run for it. So I think he's gonna probably miss the playoffs, not really be at risk for stand-up comedy, but he's got his picks. He'll be in the spot. He's got good young talent in Amon-Ra, Drake London and stuff, but Drake London especially needs better situations, start scoring points. So I think he'll probably move up. I think he's in a rebuilding stage, not quite that fringe playoff just because of his
Y-
record.
That's the crazy part about. And did you say you had another team on there?
No, it's June Big Ricky.
So that's the craziest part about how these sections are divided. I would agree with you that it's hard to really place Enrique in that section. I don't have him as a toilet bowl contender just because he does have Joe Burrow and he does have talented guys with Devontae Adams and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Drake London. Clyde should give him at least 10 points a week. Dallas Goddard's great, but he doesn't have a good it's not consistent enough where he's, winning weekly, but he's not
Yeah.
a rebuilder either, I wouldn't say. He doesn't have that kind of draft capital.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's
I
kind of he's kind of in the gray area
that's the
of
thing. I
yeah.
have him as a fringe playoff team. If I had to rank my fringe playoff teams, it would be Joss at the top of that list, then Remy, and then Enrique. I put Remy up there. Remy had a great week this week. He won, scored, I think, the most points he's had this season. I don't know if his team can sustain that, but Claypool moving to the Bears is going to be a definite big help. Antonio Gibson's situation, if they're down in games, he'll probably see more touches, which is big help for him. He has Lamar Jackson, who's Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
And then
good.
Josh having that 3-headed beast. And, Kenneth Walker and Dalvin Cook are RB1s. David Montgomery's looking more like an RB2 now with the emergence of Khalil Herbert. I don't want to take Josh out of it. And with Terry McLaurin, TJ Hawkinson now becomes an interesting option. Lawrence and Stafford, if he gets better production from them, it's a possibility. But I would put Josh's team ahead of Remy's just because of the consistency at the running back position. I think those are going to be your highest scores most week. And Josh has 3 very good running backs.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, because Joss is sort of in that gray area too. The only reason I had him in toilet bowl contender front playoff rebuilder is just because his max points for are so low that
I didn't
it
know
feels a little
that.
unsustainable.
Can
Yeah,
you imagine that
he's
man? Can you imagine that man with Bijan Robinson on his team?
yeah, and he'll have the second pick. Dinkelberg is pretty locked up on that first pick. It's looking like
Well,
he's
can you
averaging
imagine
80 points a week.
Can you imagine Jamari Gibbs on that man's team? Or
Yeah, it's
Jordan
gonna look pretty good
Addison?
for him. Running back heaven there.
Yeah, but he needs over. Matt Collins is your wide receiver too. Is not solid.
Yeah, he might be trading back for some or something, a receiver.
Man, maybe I'll trade up for him. We'll see.
Mhm.
So our playoff hopefuls, and once again, I think this is another section where it's kind of odd. We're in a very weird part of the season where record means a
Oh wait,
lot.
before we move on to playoff hopeful, I had 2 people you didn't mention in fringe playoff. I have myself.
Interesting.
I have myself in fringe playoff because I have a lot of injuries right now, and I'm going to my two worst weeks of bye weeks, and I probably have my 2 most favorable weeks these next 2 weeks, but I'm still kind of on the edge of maybe winning. And after that, I have a game against M-Germs, and I have a pretty tough remaining schedule, bad record. It's going to be a squeeze to get in, so I put my position. And then the other team is I put Jacoby Officer TC. Yeah, this was a real between like, for me. I just think he's closer to maybe falling out of the playoffs than he is closer
Making
to
it.
making a run. Where he's pretty low points for, but he also does have that Cordero injury, which could help him which could help him in a couple weeks whenever he comes back. But he's still kind of just on the edge there. But Mahomes and Henry have really been carrying him, and he really take again from Christian Kirk. So hopefully he steps it back up for him. That's the reason I have him just in fringe playoff. But
I do think the emergence of Algier and even Hundley is really going to be interesting with how they handle Patterson, considering long term also now Calvin Ridley's gone. So that I think is something that's going to be interesting to see. I know they really like him at that spot, but I mean, it seems like whoever ends up playing running back is going to give you numbers regardless, both in the air and on the ground. Shout out Dolphins. See, at playoff hopeful, and this is where we talk about that gray area again.
Yeah.
I have 8 teams within these next 2 categories, mainly because we are an 18 playoff system. And I think it works out that way fairly well. So I have, and if I had to rank it again, I would go Jacoby, Steven, you, M. Tom, and then Josh. Your team is just so talented. Some weeks you'll struggle, obviously, as you are, but then other weeks it'll pop off. That's just kind of what happens. Jacoby's team, I think, is the same, especially having Patrick Mahomes. It's really interesting to see where he'll end up falling, just because his team, it's so weird. Because he had an awesome week this week, but next week he'll only score 90. Like, it's very valid. And that's the problem with not having consistent guys across the board. You just get that. But then that's the same issue that's happening with really every team on this section that I have. There's no consistency. Steven doesn't have consistency. Josh Jacobs played terrible, but he was playing Andres. So anyways, he was going to lose. No one was going to beat Andres this week. M. Tom's team is super inconsistent. You never know what you're going to get. Keenan Allen's probably going to miss this week too. And then the only one is Josh's team. For now, DeAndre Hopkins is back. Once he gets Mike Williams back, it'll be better. Nyheim Hines is now a Bill. He's going to get touches because they traded for him. So that helps him. He's got arguably the 2 most consistent running backs in football, right? 2 of the most consistent in Nick Chubb and Austin Eckler. 2 is playing great. Kirk Cousins is playing awesome. He should probably get rid of Deshaun Watson at this point. But even then, Deshaun Watson might be the best of the 3. So he's getting some production from that end too. I mean, but overall, I think, and I've been saying this from the start, and I do think now post trade deadline, I did think Steven's team was going to have a chance to be the team that surprises, especially if Kareem Hunt was dealt, since Khalil Herbert has looked great and he might be splitting more touches. And Kareem Hunt, if he had been moved, he probably would have been the guy. Now I think the sleeper of this league right now this year would be Josh's team, just because DeAndre Hopkins is a wide receiver 1 right now. Nick Chubb and Austin Eckler are RB1s. Tua and Kirk Cousins are arguably QB1s. He has a hole at tight end, but his receiving core of Michael Pittman Jr., DeAndre Hopkins, and Mike Williams is one of the best trios you have in the league. His other 2 flex spots are weak, but, now that Nyheim Hines is a Bill, he should get more work. And it's just, I think he has the most interesting team. And if he wants to go in all in this year, I think moving one of his 2 quarterbacks and moving his 2nd round pick or something, he'll be able to find something that can help his team a ton. Sammy Watkins and Devontae Parker in your flexes isn't going to win you championships.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your rankings of hopefuls. That's how I had it too. Of the ones we shared, I had Steven and Tom in the middle, Josh on top. I think Josh is definitely a pretty clear number 4 guy in the league right now. He's got a lot of upside on his team. His team's playing really well. The Nyheim Hines trade definitely helped him a ton. And even if his only having 2 flex spots that are pretty questionable, that's not great, but it's also, I don't know, whenever you're playing with 14 teams and 5 flex spots, it's hard to, your last 2 flex spots are hard to be perfect. So he's got guys. Yeah, he should probably move one of those quarterbacks for maybe one more flex option, really solidify the team, but he's in a really good position. run. And I think he ends up being a pretty solid number 4 because he's had the best consistency out of all the guys in this section.
That's what I'm saying. I think, and it's just kind of fallen to him also, kind of out of nowhere. We knew who Chubb was, we knew who Eckler was. We didn't know what DeAndre Hopkins would be when he got back, and Marquise Brown still has to come back. So we'll wait and see on that. But Hopkins is everything, and he's still the guy. So there's that. But let's wrap this up. We already know who the big 3 are. We've known this for how long now? Since the end of last year.
Yeah, pretty
So,
much.
And none of them won. 2 of them didn't even make the playoffs last year. Go figure. They all made big moves this offseason, at least number 1 and 2, who we had in our rankings subjectively. Emgers, Ethan, Andres.
Mm-hmm.
In
that order, I'd probably say too.
There were them 3 this week, and then there was everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they look very good.
It's the consistency.
Yeah, they just consistently are top half in scoring almost every week. Normally, a 1 or 2 of them. Normally, one of those guys is going to be the top scorer each week too. It's just they have like multiple players that are top 5 in their positions. It's just, and they have depth too. All of them do. So it's going to be hard to knock them off. But
top down each team. I mean, Ethan has CMC, Cup, Kelsey, the white trifecta. Then now he's got Deontay Foreman. He won the CMC deal, obviously. His quarterback is a bit up and down for him. That could be a factor later in the year. Could talk to Josh. That could be something, an idea.
Yeah. I know Ethan loves Deshaun. He said he's one of his personal heroes.
That's what I heard too. I hear he gets a massage twice a week because of Watson.
I heard about that too.
On Jess's team, the emergence of Ramondre Stevenson, Alvin Kamara is back on his high horse. And he has draft capital because he finessed Dume. And then Emgrim's team is just always, he's got the guys, but you don't know if the consistency's there. That's always been his biggest problem. He got it this week. Jalen Hurts has proven himself as a top-end quarterback, and it's tough. I don't think anyone can beat these 3. And just so you know, I'll say it right now, the person who's going to win this league this year, and it's just because I have their first-round pick, is going to be Jacoby.
That would be pretty entertaining if that happened. I would definitely love another upset, especially if I'm not in the playoffs. I would love a run from someone random. But, yeah, I think if I had to guess right now who's winning the league, I'm going Josh. Why not? He's going to grind. He's going to get lucky. Matt, Gurms, Ethan, and Andres, they're just getting each other alive in the playoffs. I think Josh makes it all the way through. But going back to the top 3, I'd definitely say all 3 of them, top down, you're right, most consistent, strongest teams. The biggest problem for Emger was probably the early start is just Jonathan Taylor and his ankle injury. But with Pollard breaking out, he has another running back. So it's like he's got everything.
But here's going to be the craziest part about it. One of those teams isn't going to have a bye week, and then 2 of them are going to have to play each other before the finals. So it's going to be interesting. It's no matter which way you slice it, there's a chance that one of those 3 teams doesn't make it far.
Which would be pretty entertaining.
Hey, I think outside of those 3, there's still about 12 teams, or outside of those 3, there's still about 9 teams. I could still make the playoffs right now at 3 and 5. So
yeah, I'm pretty sure every team has could mathematically make the playoffs, and I'd say all the teams except for 2 or 3 have a realistic chance of making the playoffs.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, Romeo Dobbs is still the Packers wide receiver 1. George Pickens is about to be the Steelers wide receiver 1.
Wide receiver 2 behind Deontay.
Yeah, that bum's hurt every other play. So, but overall, I mean, it's been a fun league this year, halfway through. And I think, I know we always get hounded for the videos now not being out perfectly on time, whatever that time is. But I definitely think this has helped put more importance on this league for everyone.
Yeah,
So
energize the league.
it
Yeah.
has
And
energized
yeah,
the
this has been a
league.
pretty tight season too. From our 6th ranked to our 11th ranked. 6th is on Steven at 4-4, and 11th is Joss at 3-5. So that's a lot of people within one game of each other. So a lot still to play for. Quarter of the season to go. We'll see what
And then
happens.
how many teams have multiple first round picks while we're going through it?
Me, you, M. Germs,
Dume.
Dume, yeah. And then that's it. I think me and you own like half the draft because I have 3. Do you have 3 also?
I traded one in the George Pickens deal.
Oh,
I have 2 firsts and 2 seconds. But
okay.
now with Claypool gone, I mean it's 100% worth it.
Yeah, no, and he's looked really good.
Tough seeing Gino. I mean, hyped for Gino. Tough seeing him really blow up and probably being the starter next year. He's awesome. I hope he
I know,
keeps it
yeah.
up. It's been one of the best stories in the league. But final notes, Bears Dolphins this week. Dolphins are gonna take that dub. Bradley Chubb's on the team now. Awesome addition. Quick breakdown of it. Dolphins needed a pass rusher badly. Jalen Phillips has looked good, but now I think this move makes him look great. We need corner help still. Byron Jones, if he could get healthy, would be awesome. But overall, it's an exciting time to be a Dolphins fan. You got any final notes, fantasy or anything else related?
Please pray for my well-being because I have to watch another week of Packers football, and if we lose to the Lions, I might officially. I don't know what will happen. We'll see.
This is the
Uncharted
week.
territory.
This is the week Romeo Dobbs separates himself as the best Packers wide receiver since Devontae Adams a year ago. And if he
I really
can't,
hope so.
and if he can against the Lions, then my phone might be open
We're
to
fucked.
something. But yeah, I think that's everything from us. We've been a bit down on power rankings. We're gonna get back to our brainstorm and our workshop, and then we're gonna bring some good content coming soon.
We got some next week.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. But production budget's still low. That's all I got. The budget's non-existent. So but thanks for joining us again. Another I Hate My Son IHMS production. IHMS Productions, IHMS Power Rankings. What a time. What a time. Thanks, guys.
3, 2, 1,